Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, we're looking at a comedy film from 2016, and that film is Fan-O-Rama. It's an independent YouTube movie, which normally I'd say is a bad sign, but really the only fan project I've looked at so far was The Folly of Celestia, which I absolutely loved, so I can't really say that. But if you don't know about Futurama, I think it's one of the greatest cartoons ever made. I do. I, honest to God, love the show to death. I think it's one of the funniest things to ever hit television. Okay? And as such, I'm really excited to go into this. Now, I have not seen this. I didn't know this even existed until very recently. And when it happened, I knew I had to do some kind of review to it. So anyway, it's about 30 minutes in length, which is slightly longer than the average Futurama episode. And the only thing I know about this is that it's live action and it was made with no involvement with the Futurama team. So this could have all the quality of a bad fan film, but I was saying the same thing about Folly of Celestia, and again, I loved that. So I don't know. The only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good or not is if I shut up and I press play, and that's what I'm going to do. So ladies and gentlemen, let's kick back, relax, and watch Fan-O-Rama. I just want it to be known the longer this thing goes on, the less and less I believe that is Fry. It's especially weird because they did such a great job constructing the set, and the guy who's playing Bender really looks and even sounds like Bender. But then there's Fry, and they're just completely off the mark. He doesn't look, well, he's dressed like Fry, but he doesn't have the same body as Fry, and for that matter, he also doesn't really sound like Fry. He sounds like a guy just doing a bad Billy West impression. Um, but no, besides that, everything else is recreated spectacularly, and I think that kind of makes it worse. Because at least if everything else was recreated badly, I could maybe ignore all of it, but no, just this one thing staring out at me like a giant zit. And it's bothering me. Okay, I take back everything I said about Fry because that voice is not Leela. It's just way too soft. And the only reason, by the way, I'm even mentioning this is because Leela was known for being kind of the tough girl on the show. And as such, she had this kind of deep voice. That voice is like, it's much closer to Amy than it is to Leela, truth be told. And that honestly bothers me. Again, it's just kind of because I'm a nerd and this is supposed to be an episode for Futurama nerds, so yeah. Also, I will say, I am genuinely surprised with how good they did the makeup. I was expecting the makeup on Leela to suck, but that's actually a really good effect. They also got Nibbler down really well. Again, it's only the human characters. The things that I thought would be the easiest that they just can't get down. It's weird. I just want to say that Zoidberg costume looks amazing. All the costumes in this thing, by the way, guys, look absolutely amazing, and I cannot stress that enough. The professor looks great. Zoidberg looks great. The set looks great. The only things I have issue with are some of the voices. Amy's voice is still a little off, but it's not awful. It's just kind of off. Leela's voice doesn't fit the slightest, though. But no, this obviously had so much effort put into it, and I absolutely love it. Honestly, this is exactly what I'd expect Planet Express to look like in live action, and it's amazing. I just want to say, this thing has been really good at not just mindlessly shoving in references to Futurama. Which, by the way, is don't just mindlessly shove in references during your fan film. You want to make it feel like an episode, not like a best of compilation. Now they've done it twice. The first one was extremely noticeable. It was Bender going, "Shut up, baby, I know it," with basically no provocation. It didn't even make sense considering the context of that scene versus when he said in the show. The other time is him going, "We're boned," which, if you don't know, is a reference to the end of Bender's Big Score. And mind you, I only noticed the second one because, again, I'm a huge Futurama fan. Um, but as it hopes, I hope they don't just devolve into mindless reference after mindless reference. They haven't done so far, which I will give this thing credit for. But it's that little voice in my head saying, "What if this gets bad?" But hey, you know what? We still got about half the thing to go, so who knows? Okay, I may have been wrong when I said this was halfway over. They're showing the credits considering it's less than 20 minutes into a video that's 30 minutes. I assumed it was a short fake out. But this fake out's been going on for 3 minutes, and I'm genuinely starting to worry that this is the actual end. And if it is, I'm genuinely going to be kind of pissed. No. I guess that was the end. So that was Fan-O-Rama, and ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart to the people of Cinema Relics, just take this in for a little bit. I mean this. Okay? Okay. Here you go. Here. Just stare at it. I am actually angry right now. Guys, I've seen things on this series before, even, that have annoyed me or have bored me or have made me wish I wasn't watching it. This infuriates me. Honest to God. Now, okay, let me explain why. So, as I mentioned at the start, the video is 32 minutes in length. It's actually 31:45, but 32 minutes. We'll say 32 for the sake of easy math. Around 16 minutes in, Zap Brannigan. This is a spoiler, by the way, because you want to avoid spoilers for fucking Fan-O-Rama. But around 16 minutes in, Zap Brannigan appears out of nowhere. And they did this actually really good joke with him, by the way. And that's what annoys me the most. If this thing sucked, I wouldn't have cared in the slightest, but I really liked this thing. And that's why it's annoying me. It is really okay joke with Zap Brannigan coming out of nowhere and saying, "Oh, you were probably wondering why I wasn't in this thing." And by the way, the guy who played Zap Brannigan looked exactly like Phil Hartman, and that was really cool. Supposed to be pissed. And they just say, "Oh, it's over now. You're never gonna know. Bye." And they start showing the credits. And at first, I thought it was like a gag or something. Then, because I'm watching this on my TV, I opened Google Chrome, went to the video, scanned through, and the only thing I'm missing is a 9-minute long Hypnotoad joke. I'm not joking. After this, they show credits for 5 minutes and do like a 10-minute long Hypnotoad joke. Which, by the way, that exact same joke, if you are really curious, was already done on the Bender's Big Score DVD. Again, I refer you to my previous symbol, if you will. You bluntly false advertised to me. That's how I see it. You falsely advertised to me. If you wanted to make a 16-minute little tribute that ended on a cliffhanger, that'd be one thing. Okay? But no, you gotta market it as 32 minutes long to show off your Hypnotoad skills. You can play a sound for 10 minutes straight. I can do that too. And I use a free editing software that's barely above Windows Movie Maker. And now if I say that, Shotcut's gonna take 8 hours to render this video. Oh, I can't even take that long anyway. But anyway, so that alone has officially gotten this thing my wrath. Because I'm going to be blunt with you guys. I was expecting to come on here with like a cheesy little grin on my face and talk about how great everything was, but no. No, Fan-O-Rama does not deserve my praise. Because even the other products that I absolutely hated, okay? Even the Pony Life episode that I watched, those were 11 minutes in length. They told you they were 11 minutes in length, and they were 11 minutes in length. They didn't say actually we're 22 minutes in length. And after that, you get to see Derpy Hooves screaming muffin for 10 minutes straight. By the way, is there a Pony Life Derpy Hooves? I hope not. And I just want to say, the only person I'm actually mad at when it comes to this thing is the writer. Everyone else, with the exception of a couple of the actors, they didn't sound the best, but everyone else brought their A game. As I mentioned, the sets are amazing. They look exactly like they did on Futurama. The costumes are great. The only real issue I had with how they represented the show is I did not feel that the voices for Fry, or really the look of Fry either, but his voice didn't match. Leela's voice was off, and Amy's voice was, eh. They really played up how they got an Asian to play her. But they really showed how Asian she was. Which, side note, she wasn't Asian in the show. She was from Mars. That's just weird. Although, you know what, she was portrayed very Asian-like, so, you know what, I'm not going to attack her for that, but that's really the big issue here. And mind you, again, the writing here is perfectly fine, all things considered. It's about the level of an average Futurama episode, and I will give it credit for actually trying to be a Futurama episode, and not trying to just shove references down our throat for 16 minutes, which they then claim was 32 minutes. I'm not getting over that. I am not. This video I clicked on said it was 32 minutes in length. And what did we get? We got 16 minutes. You are 50% of the way there. And in school, for those who don't know, at least in the US, 50% is a fail. You guys failed. You lied to your audience. And for that, I cannot forgive. I cannot talk about how the costumes are really good, because they are. They actually really are. Okay, I was genuinely worried the makeup on Mila was going to look awful. No, they actually did it pretty well. Yeah, her eye was about that. I'm trying to remember if the purport. Yeah, they're pretty accurate. For that matter, I also think the Bender costume was done great. The Zoidberg costume was amazing. There are a lot of people who put a lot of effort, and guys, it pains me. It genuinely pains me to hate this. I genuinely want to absolutely love this thing. I really do. I wanted to come on here and absolutely, again, like I said earlier, have a stupid grin on my face and talk about how it's not perfect, but it's more Futurama. The set is amazing, and that's why it's good. But I'm sorry. I cannot forgive a product directly lying to me. I can't. I cannot forgive anything that tells me it is going to have more content than it does. And I assumed there was going to be credits in it. I thought it was going to be at like the 22 or 25-minute markers, take up a couple minutes. But no, instead, they only have 16 minutes of content. They stretched it out. And and I know, by the way, the complete imbecile who wrote this probably thought that little fake, not even a fake, that little bit where they just spend half of it not actually having an episode was hilarious. No, it wasn't. It was awful, and I hate you. You are permanently on my shit list. Just, oh my god. Oh my god. I genuinely, I think I broke a little. I think this broke me slightly. I mean, wow. Just wow. So, guys, can I recommend? Have I really even talked about? Yeah, I've talked about virtually everything. The only other thing I haven't mentioned is I guess there were a few characters I didn't talk about. Hermes is okay, he's there, I guess. They actually got a really good Nixon impersonator, by the way. I will say that right now. I'm surprised it didn't just directly make a Watergate reference, though. Well, they kind of did. They kind of did. But I was surprised they didn't just say, I'm the guy who did Watergate. I can rig this. It makes sense in context. But, oh my. The characters are mostly on point. Fry's a little dumber than he normally is, at least in my opinion. And Hermes' dislike of Zoidberg here is more passive aggressive, where in the show it was much more common for it to just be, well, aggressive. But besides that, everyone is characterized well. It's just that ending. It is, honest to God, just that ending that cements this in my hatred. So can I recommend Fan-O-Rama? No. No, I bluntly cannot. Guys, this thing, you may have thought I was being too harsh flipping it off, okay? But all it essentially did is it shoved this in my face, tried to shove this in my face for 16 minutes. And you know what? I'm shoving mine right back at them. I mean, wow. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another reaction and review. I am Ephrom, and good night. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch some Futurama. And you know what's the one thing Futurama has over Fan-O-Rama always? All of the episodes are actually finished. Good night, everybody.